Hi everyone, welcome back to our new video of the series where we are discussing design and analysis of the algorithm. In our previous video, we have seen what is time complexity and how we calculate time complexity. In this video, we'll try to give up the formula for time complexity and we'll see in how many ways we represent time complexity. So if you remember in our previous video, we have defined time complexity as the number of times the basic operation executes will give me what a fairly of time complexity. If you remember, right? Because we do not take time complexity as the execution time of an algorithm because it depends upon several factors and those factor affects it, right? So to have a fundamental base, what we took is we'll calculate how many times the basic operation is calculated or it's been executed and we'll define in that way. What was the basic operation there? If you remember, basic operation is nothing but it is the common or you can say a very important part of the algorithm which is being executed and it's taking a running time or it's contributing to a running time, right? So let's define what is formula for time complexity. The way we have represented for space complexity, in a similar way we'll define it for the time complexity. If you remember, for space complexity we used to write space of any program depends upon constant space plus its auxiliary space, right? Here also the time complexity of a given input n, we define it by COP multiplied by C times X. So this becomes a function and this is again a constant of a basic operation. So let's see what each term here in this formula means. See, T of n means time complexity of an algorithm with input n, right? This is how we represent this. What is COP means here? It's a time taken for an algo to execute for one execution of one basic operation. For example, the summation of a plus b, which is a basic operation for an addition algorithm, takes 5 minutes for performing one. I'm just giving an hypothetical situation. So it takes 5 minutes to do a plus b, right? So this is what the COP will be. So it's a constant time or a time taken for an algorithm to execute for a basic operation. And what this C of x will represent? C of x will represent a function which express actually how many times the basic operation is being executed, right? It will say how many times the basic operation is executed. Actually, this is on what we are focusing on because this part is again a constant, right? So whatever function we get out of this after calculation, that is what will give me a time complexity. For example, it's a constant, right? So O of 1 will come for sure because it's a constant. If it is linear, O of n will come. If it is quadratic, O of n square will come. If it is cubic, O of n cube will come, depending upon what function it is, right? So this is the nothing but time taken for one basic operation, and this will give how many times that basic operation has been executed. So I think you understood this formula. Now there are different ways to represent time complexity or to calculate the time complexity. So there are ways to calculate time complexity. Not ways, I'll say these are way to represent time complexity, right? You can calculate in any three ways. That is, first is the best way, second is the average case, and third one is the worst case, right? So in our next video we'll discuss what these best way, average case and worst case means, and how do we calculate for each of them. So if you like the video, please do like, share and subscribe. Thank you.